I know I'm wearing a shawl in June. I'm anemic. Leave me alone. Welcome to another corner of my apartment. I lit these candles just for you. Why did I start this channel? So, most of my friends don't read. That's not true. Most of my friends don't complete books. I have one friend who reads consistently, but our Venn diagrams of genres do not mix. She is fantasy and magic and Russian literature. I'm reading Anna Karenina, I'm trying, and I am over here. So I would really like to meet new people. I want to talk about books. I want to leave funny comments and get recommendations and just be able to have a discourse about something that I don't talk about as much with other people. It's much more often work or movies or music. Somehow books can feel a little elitist because not everyone reads as much, and in actual real life conversation I find I don't have as many opportunities to talk about the things that I really like. So I'm here to talk to people, which is a weird thing for an introvert to say, but such is life. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to Booktube? I am tempted to make a comment about the, how should I put this, monochromatic nature of the biggest booktubers, but being a different ethnicity in and of itself doesn't make you fun or unique. I read a lot of nonfiction. It seems like most booktubers read mainly fiction books, predominantly YA and fantasy. But again, is that fun and unique? Is that just me looking for help on this swirling cesspool through all of my collection of self-help books? That being said, I'm gonna still give it a shot. What are you most excited for about this channel? I am excited to talk about books. That's really it. I'm also excited to learn a new skill. I have never filmed before, never edited. I'm sure you can tell. I am looking forward to having a hobby that is creative and a hobby that has, again, nothing to do with work. Are you noticing a theme here? I do work in a creative field. However, what I do is much more on the administrative side. And while I never had any aspirations or have any aspirations of becoming a filmmaker or anything like that, this is something really tangible. This is something that I can do by myself, that I can edit it and, put dumb graphics in and post it and see people's responses. And it's a project that, I make with these. I mean, it's virtual, but you get what I mean. I am excited for that. Why do you love reading? God, what a question. Isn't it the simplest questions that are the hardest to answer sometimes? I love reading because reading is an escape. It is where I have learned all of the most important things that I know, not in a classroom. It is where I learn what it means to be human, where I learn to empathize with other people. One of my favorite movies is History Boys, and it has this quote: "The best moments in reading are when you come across something, a thought, a feeling, a particular way of looking at something, which you had thought was special and particular to you. Now here it is, set down by someone else, a person you have never met, someone who is long dead, and it is as if a hand has come out and taken yours." That's why I love reading. What book or series got you into reading? I know I started reading very young, and so I can't remember the first thing I read, but the Chronicles of Narnia, I got one of those big collections of all of the books that I read when I was younger, and it took me years to find out that it was actually a series of books together because I had only had my big anthology. I also read the Magic Treehouse series, and to this date, Chronicles of Narnia and the Magic Treehouse series are the only two series that I have finished all the way through. Now I know Magic Treehouse has included many, many more volumes since I was a wee fourth grader, but at the time I read all 170 something of them. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Ooh. It seems like the more popular you get, the more people find things wrong with what you're saying and what you're doing. And sometimes, shocker, YouTubers are wrong. But other times it just looks like people get triggered off of the smallest thing when the person clearly wasn't talking about them. Like if I sit here and talk about how I don't read science fiction, that's just because I don't read science fiction. There is nothing deeper about it. There's no hierarchy or, oppression of the science nerds. It's just, but I see it happen all the time. Another question I would have is, do you ever feel limited by only doing booktube videos? Ariel Bissett does these documentaries and Read with Cindy, reviews movies sometimes, and you have people like Julesy, who has an entire book club but also has a lot of commentary and social justice and working with politicians. And it seems like people treat them differently than other booktubers who are solely doing TBRs, wrap-ups, hauls, etc. And so as someone who has a lot of interest but right now really wants to focus on books, I'm curious as to how you guys balance that expectation of what you're known for with also stuff you just want to do. Something I admire about D'Angelo Wallace is he starts all of his videos with, "Welcome back to me talking about whatever I want," and I admire that energy. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel would be the hardest to overcome? Nothing? So I know it's not easy to have a booktube channel. I know it is not easy to edit. I know it is not easy to build a community and create interesting, entertaining, educational content. But it is also not easy to quit your job in the middle of a recession and a pandemic to go back to school to study a field that nobody really cares about. And seeing as I did that 2 days ago, this seems fine. Like, I'm having fun so far. I think this is going to be a good time. While it makes total sense to want to start a YouTube channel to make money or to go to panels, leverage the opportunity into maybe a media or acting or film career, and being a public facing person being judged by strangers, I'm sure is not going to be easy. But for now, it doesn't really feel like that much of a risk. It doesn't really feel like that much of a challenge. And perhaps I am still riding the waves of my major life decision, and in 2 weeks I'll wake up and realize, what have I done? But for now, I'm not too pressed about it. So we'll see. When did I start reading? I was 4 or 5 years old. I was going to learn how to read anyway, because obviously, but my parents said once I learned how to read, I could get a Game Boy Color. It was hot pink. I had the Mary-Kate and Ashley game, among others, and it was glorious. So, 4 or 5 years old. Where do you read? Where do I read? I read everywhere except the bed. It seems like a lot of people schedule their reading to like 30 minutes to an hour before they go to sleep, but I am at work when I should be working. I am on the train. I am subtly having a window open during a Zoom meeting where it looks like I'm taking notes, but I'm actually reading an ebook. I'm kind of wherever. On the couch. Probably read on the couch the most. It's just never been a thing that I got in the habit of doing in bed, which seems to be a popular spot. So pretty much wherever. And what kind of books do you like to read? Ugh, I hate questions like this. Same as I hate, like, what do you listen to and what do you watch? Because I can give specific examples, but I don't really... not to be like, she's not like other readers. I don't really have a preferred genre. I mean, fiction and nonfiction, but that's a lot. That's a lot of things. I mean, I say I don't really read science fiction because I don't, but I'm going to read Dune and Parable of the Sower this year. I say I don't really read classics that often, but it was The Picture of Dorian Gray in 2017 that got me back into reading, and I'm reading Anna Karenina now. So I can probably name some of my favorite books, but in terms of genres, it's whatever interests me. I mean, I learned the hard way that just because something is a classic or just because something is a bestseller within my demographic does not mean it's going to work for me. So that's one of the reasons why I watch so many booktube videos, is I love just to hear about all these different authors and genres. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm someone who's a huge biography person, but I just reread, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou, and it's just a fantastic book. And I plan on rereading the autobiography of Malcolm X because it's a fantastic book. And I also, not this year because it's a doozy, but at some point I want to read Frida Kahlo by Hayden Herrera because it's a fantastic book. So I don't really know how to answer this, probably because I also don't understand a lot of genres, like contemporary fiction means what, YA fiction is Catcher in the Rye, but not because it's a classic. But like YA can't only be John Green books. Listen, I don't know. Yeah, that is pretty much it. I feel like this video is pretty boring, pretty short, but you know, see if we can fix that in post. Add a personality in post.